What's wild is Jeff, the founder of Ugmonk, actually started in 2008 designing minimal t-shirts when everyone else was making skulls and gore. It was the complete opposite of what was trendy, but 15 years later, he's built something way bigger than just apparel. His company now focuses on physical tools in a world dominated by digital solutions. While most founders chase quick e-commerce wins, Jeff's been slowly building relationships with customers for over a decade. His analog card system isn't just an index card holder. It's a beautifully crafted solution to our overwhelming digital lives. He designs products he personally wants to exist in the world. And that authentic approach is why his Kickstarters hit 6 figures within hours. Welcome to Anatomy of a Brand, where we obsess over what makes brands tick so that yours never settles. This is episode 12 with Ugmonk founder Jeff Sheldon. Jeff, I'm excited to talk, but before we dive into Ugmonk and everything that you've created, I want to jump into a similar obsession we have, which is pizza. And you have been making your own pizza dough, similar to myself. This obsession is real, and when it gets a hold of you, you can't let the pizza obsession go. But you have been into it for a little bit of time before. You have some sourdough beef, even with the world, when they got into sourdough. But you're into making pizzas as well, huh?
Yeah, I just want everyone to know that I got into sourdough in 2019 before baking sourdough was cool when everybody started during the pandemic. But no, I actually hadn't done a lot of baking or cooking before that, but I had always wanted to get into sourdough. I was intrigued by it. I love bread. I mean, who doesn't love bread? But like finding good bread and experiencing that at Tartine out in San Francisco. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's like, it was life changing. Yeah. It like changed. I was like, how can a piece of bread?
That everybody needs to know.
Yeah. And I haven't been there for a minute, but it was like, wow, how can bread be so good? And then I started following like Chad, the founder's journey, and like, just learning about what it was. So I'd always had this like inkling, like I want to try this someday. I had gotten all the equipment, like had all the stuff, and then slowly started baking. And then the pandemic hit, and then I really started baking and kind of went crazy with it. And that led to sourdough pizza. But it was like, it's my one of my many things that I go really deep on, and then I like get obsessed with.
Yeah, like I'm watching your sourdough pizzas, and I'm like, I look at it and go, okay, he knows what he's doing. One, because I can tell by the crust, the leopard spots that are on the crust.
Yeah.
I'm watching the flavor choices, like the roasted corn with the different mozzarellas. I'm like, he's dialed, and I understand it. So like, there's a respect I have for you. And it's not just, you're like, hey, I bought some dough from Trader Joe's and I decided to throw it in my uni.
Yeah.
Like, no, I've been dialing this in.
I'm doing it the hard way, but I think it's kind of like a theme in my life of like going deep onto these like specific things. And most of them are all like really simple at the essence. So it's like, sourdough is flour, salt, and water. And it's like 3 ingredients, but endless ways to dial it in or to change it and evolve. And like coffee is the same way, like huge into coffee, but it's like very simple, right? It's coffee and you're extracting the beans through different types of brewing methods and things like that. But really simple, but it can change dramatically based on how you do it. So that's kind of like, I don't know, it's just my thing.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you because I know a lot about Ugmonk and what you do. We'll dive in there in just a minute. But that process for you where you're like, I get obsessed, the simplicity, the craftsmanship, that seems to be a little bit of your MO. Am I right? Or is it like, you're like, when I see it, I don't want to outsource this. I kind of want to make it myself, versus like, I can go buy it somewhere else, versus you being like, there's something about it that you want to make by hand or something, it feels like.
Yeah. I don't even know what it is. And I don't think I realized that I had this like obsession till more recently, but it was like, if I see something out there, or I see whether it's like somebody puts an awesome Instagram reel up, or they're baking a loaf of bread, or you have an amazing meal, or someone paints this beautiful picture, I have this like desire, this like compulsion to try to recreate that and see if I can do it too. And not even for the world to know, but it's like an internal, like competing against myself. Like, man, I had this incredible pizza at, a place in Brooklyn. I want to go back and recreate that and like dive deep to figure out, is it the fermentation process? Is it the cheese mix? Is it whatever? And like, yeah, I thought all people were like that.
For you versus like, I'm doing this so that I could X, Y, and Z. You're like, there's something about it for yourself that's almost like a little bit of therapy. Like, you're like, I'm diving in to kind of just see what's inside me as I try to explore this. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and all of my products, like, everything I'm doing with Ugmonk was basically born out of that exact same ethos. Like, I want this
Okay.
to exist. I don't see it out there, or it's not done in the way that I like. And I'm gonna
Hmm.
make it for myself. And if other people like it, that's cool too. And it's like, I'm just like, it's really, it almost sounds selfish, right? Like I'm doing this for myself, but I'm doing it to a level that I'm like, I want this to exist in exactly this way. And then other
I
people are
love that.
like, man, I appreciate the detail that you put into it.
So before we head into Ugmonk, tell me what's the best pizza you've made. You're like, this is the one that I make over and over again because it's my favorite. Or maybe you made it once and you're like, I can't touch it again because it was so good.
Oh man, that's like picking a favorite kid, you know? You're
Yeah,
not supposed to do this.
it is. It
I'll
is.
say the one that I just made. So I'd seen this pizza place called Raza. It's outside of New York, and he'd always had
Okay.
this like summer corn, sweet corn pizza, and I was like, corn on pizza? I don't know if it can be good. Like it seems weird level, not to their level. But it was like a fresh ear of corn, some sauces, Italian sausage, and then some chili
Okay.
paste, and it was just like
Ooh.
gives you a little
What's the
bit of the
sauce? Is
salty
there a
heat.
sauce?
It was just a white pie,
Okay.
mozzarella, olive oil, parmesan, and just like real simple. Like it's not much, but it gave you like the heat and the salt, and I don't know. It's fun to
Oh,
experiment, and yeah. So
yes.
corn on pizza is a thing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it looked fantastic when I saw it on Instagram coming out of the uni. All right. So thanks for indulging me in the pizza conversation there for a little bit. That's going to be our new show where I'm going to ask you to come be a part of the Sourdough Pizza Boys podcast, and we'll just dive into pizza every week.
I'm here for it.
But okay, so tell me. So I know a bunch about Ugmonk because I've followed their journey for a long time, just as an outsider. Like this is, and as a user of the product. But what I want to do is I want to reverse it a little bit here. I want, as we look at holistic branding, we look at so many different elements of this, not just the products that are made by this. And I know that you have this obsessive kind of drive around your products and some other elements of the brand. But if we were to pull back and I asked you to describe Ugmonk to somebody, but you couldn't describe your products yet, but you had to just describe Ugmonk and what it was outside of the products, how would you describe it?
Without saying what the products are, I'd say it's a design-driven brand that are creating products that improve your daily life.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, so without going into categories or whatever, like the idea is to make things that actually make your daily routine better.
Where does that come from for you? Like what, why does that drive you?
I think it's just the way that I notice the world. And again, like I thought this was all normal that like people get obsessed with something and then just, go for like 24-hour binge on trying to figure out how to make their dough like better. But ever since I was a kid, like I've always noticed things. I'm always looking at things sort of through like a critical lens, but also like, how can this be better? How can I optimize this? Like, why does the car handle on the door have to pull out that far? If you could, your
Mm.
fingers could go in better if there was a little bit more of a gap. Like, just looking
You
at weird little
recognize these
things.
design things that just didn't feel almost like intuitive. Like there wasn't like this I was thought of or human element to it. You're just like,
Yep.
why is this doing this way?
Yeah, like
The
why
door
do we
handle,
why do we
XYZ.
exist with things that are so poorly designed? And I don't even think I thought about it through a design lens. It was just like, I wonder, how can I make this better? And here's like a funny example. I don't think I've ever shared
Yeah.
this on a podcast. So I was a kid that would just take cardboard, duct tape, plywood, whatever I could get my hands on, and just like making things and always creating whatever
Love
I
it.
had in my mind. It never quite turned out what I had, but I always had these ideas. I try to make them. I rigged up when I was like, I don't know, it was in elementary school. I realized when I went to bed and I laid down that my light switch was across the room. And this was before like smart plugs and all that stuff. But I was like, well, once I lay down, then I want to turn my light out. Well, I can't reach the light switch, so you got to turn the light out, and then you got to jump into the bed. So I don't even know where this came from. I rigged up like this string pulley system with a little cord that went up and over like all of my,
Bro.
Michael Jordan posters on my wall, and
Yeah.
like rigged it up with these two little knobs, and one of them went above, and you pulled it, and it turned the light on. The other one pulled it and pulled the light off,
That
and
is fantastic.
yeah, it was like I guess that's kind of like a precursor to all the stuff that I'm doing
Yes.
now.
It made me think of Goonies. It made me think
Yeah.
of all the gadgets in
Yep.
Goonies where like he opens up his belt, he's got all these things he's invented for this adventure. I'm like,
Exactly.
this is the guy we need with us
Yep.
on this journey because he's gonna have this like, wait, I've got something for this.
Yep.
And he opens up like that's so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. So but So the design driven towards bettering your life, is that where Ugmonk started, or did you evolve to that? Like, is that clarity you have around Ugmonk now? We'll get into your products here in a little bit. I even have one of them in front of me. But is that where it started for you? Is the clarity that you have about why this company exists, or the deeper meaning for you? Did you start with that, or did it evolve into that?
It kind of evolved into that, but so the original idea of Ugmonk was just this idea to make shirts that I wanted to wear, and this was
Okay.
2008, like pre-social media. Had been doing Threadless and Designed by Humans, which were these like t-shirt contest
Yes.
sites, like way
Yes.
back in the
Oh
day.
man.
Yeah,
Threadless. Oh my gosh. That is a call out right there. I love that.
I don't know how many people will even that are listening will even
Yes.
know remember
I
this.
know. And if they do, they're the real ones.
Yes,
If they
yeah.
do know, then you're like, we're synced. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to have in common if you know what Threadless
You
is.
could win like $1,000 or $2,000 for winning those shirt contests. But
Yeah.
so I was like studying graphic design, kind of like getting into all different types of art, and t-shirts happen to be the easiest medium to apply that design language and that design ethos to. So I did these like really, really simple, minimal typographic t-shirts with like giant letters and numbers. If you Google Ugmonk, you'll find them like in Google Images probably. But it was like I didn't see anything at the time that was like that, so I wanted to create that simple style, clean shapes, geometric. Everything else was like basically skulls and blood and gore. It was like the emo,
It's
like,
true.
you
It's
know,
true. Everything on there was like that. Everything was so graphic driven and not like type clean minimalism. Everything was, you get these elaborate kind of drawings of skulls, the emo era. You're right.
yeah. So I was just like, that just wasn't what I was into, and I was like, I think it'd be really cool for this to exist, and that was like why I started it wasn't even a company, just started the idea and put the shirts out there. So I think the
I
idea of
resonate with
making
that so much.
something that improves my life that I want is the thread that ties it all together. Like, and no pun intended from the
Hmm.
thread to the t-shirts, but like that's actually what I think has stayed true. But I don't think I realized that it was just like, I don't know, making a thing because I want it. Not even trying to make money. I'm just trying to do this because I think it'd
Hmm.
be cool to wear.
So you were meeting some even like need inside of yourself where you're like, this doesn't exist and I want it. Not just this doesn't exist and let me solve a market problem.
Hmm.
It didn't even when did it transition from like you making shirts on Threadless to you now starting Ugmonk as a business? And what was that like decision? I have a second question to that, but I'm going to start there. What was the decision point that goes, I need to turn this into something, not just shirts on Threadless?
Yeah, I mean, when I launched it, this is the origin story. I bought 200 shirts. It was four designs, 50 of each design. I called up my dad. I was like, "Hey, can I borrowed, it was probably $2,000. I'm gonna pay you back." And he had seen me. I had success on some of these t-shirt sites and stuff. So I was like, "I want to try this thing." And I launched it, and it wasn't like we instantly sold out of 200 shirts because like I didn't have an email list or social media or anything, but I got a couple of orders like early on, and then a couple more and a couple more, and then like it started to build to like where my wife and I were packing shirts and like taking them to the post office, like walking them down to the local
You're
post
like,
office.
you're doing the real deal. You're like, man,
Yeah.
we are stuffing, which I've seen Instagram reels of you still doing that.
Yeah, yeah, we've just kind of grown up a little bit, and now I have some more help. But it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing we've been doing for the last 17 years,
Wow.
and yeah. So I started it as like um, small. I want this to exist, but I didn't realize it was a business right away. And then people kept coming back and saying, when are you launching? When's the next drop? Like, when are you making more? And again, think about like 17 years ago, there wasn't a lot of these like brands just popping up on Instagram, and it wasn't
Right.
easy to make shirts. Like, you had to screen print it, you had to buy it in bulk, you had to open up wholesale
Oh,
accounts. Like,
yeah.
it wasn't easy. So
It was not.
yeah, I
I know
mean that,
exactly
and
what you're
then
talking about.
2 years into it, fast forward 2 years into it is when we started, or I went full time and left my one and only agency job fresh out of college, and then I went full time with Ugmonk. But it was all based around keep making t-shirts, just like make shirts, new designs, different drops, and then I slowly started getting into like some desk accessories and some
Hmm.
leather journals and mouse pads, and like I wanted to apply the same idea of like I want this, this leather mouse pad. This is
Yeah.
a really old one,
Oh,
to exist because I didn't want the crappy one that I got from like the free one at the
mhm.
the conference with the insurance logo on it. Um, so I put it on my desk, And then somebody be like, then I think it was around time Instagram was starting. I'd post a picture of it and they're like, where did you get that leather mouse pad? And it's like, well, I got one of them.
Yours is probably one of the first I saw ever on the leather mouse pad game. Like it was not,
Yeah.
this was not a big like normal thing that you can go buy leather mouse pads. It was like you could buy leather wallets and stuff, but
Yeah.
not like computer accessories.
Yep. And
like
if
that.
you could, it was like bonded leather, which is basically taking a
Right.
bunch of leather, glued together, pressed. It's not full grain leather. Like, so now we sell
Mhm.
like full grain leather. It's straight from, cut out of the hide, and
Mhm.
it wears in really nice. So it slowly like morphed from shirts to some desk accessories, but for the better part up until 2017, was all really like people would be like, "Oh, you're the t-shirt guy, it's a t-shirt brand." And I was like, it kind of drove me crazy because I
Yeah.
wanted, it was the
Did it
design, it
frustrate
wasn't the
you?
shirt.
Did it frustrate you? I'm going to double tap into that. Did it, as a brand builder, when someone kind of, I don't know if pigeonholes you is the right term, but kind of locks you in and says, this is what you are. Did that really like, did that bother you? Or did it, you kind of like, I know you're like, it bothered me, but did it really bother you to the point of like, and this frustrates me that I'm being seen this way?
Yeah, it was hard because people, the outside world, especially at that time, didn't understand like running your own brand. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're like, so can you make, like, my kid has a t-ball, team. Can you make shirts for his team? And people would ask me that. And I'm like, well, I'm actually not screen printing them. Like, I'm designing them. And it was hard to explain. It didn't frustrate me as much as I just kept having like this inkling in the back of my mind. Like, I want to do more than shirts. Like, there's so many more ideas. But t-shirts were way easier than making a physical desk
Right.
organizer out of metal and wood
Yeah.
and magnets. So it didn't really frustrate me, but I do think it kind of turned it into like Ugmonk is a t-shirt brand, and t-shirts were just literally the medium or the mechanism to get the design out there. It wasn't like
Mhm.
I was going down the fashion design path as much as
Right.
I was the graphic and the kind of the aesthetic side. So yeah, it was a weird time.
And did you so let's fast forward here a little bit then. We'll do some Christopher Nolan type stuff and we'll time travel. We'll go back and forth to different periods in the Ugmonk journey. I have in front of me one of the Ugmonk one of the pieces from Analog. I use it. It's on my desk next to my computer. I write down what today, the next day, someday, all of those components. How did you go from shirts to that?
Mhm.
Like what makes that leap? Like I get you wanted to design to improve lives in that kind of way, but getting to a productivity tool that improves your life is a very different product than a t-shirt.
Yeah, for sure. So the evolution was going from shirts to, in 2017, I launched the first Gather desk organizer, which I have somewhere behind
Wow.
me on a shelf back
Yeah.
here.
Which pause for a second. What is this behind you? Like is this looks like a retail setup
This
almost.
is my home office setting that I basically designed to look more like a retail setting so we can take
I
product
love it.
photos. Yeah.
I love it.
Up
Let's
until
go.
2020, I didn't even have a space outside. I was doing everything from my house. My parents' basement was our warehouse, and I created like this whole backdrop to do studio photos. Because for
Okay.
e-commerce, you can basically you want to represent them in more just than like a white background.
Right.
And yeah, so this is like an actual background, not a Zoom background. People
Okay.
are like, is that
Okay.
fake or is that real?
You're like,
Um,
no, I've designed it intentionally. It is very real.
yeah, yeah, and it's literally just a bedroom in our house here.
I love it.
But yeah, I got into desk organization, launched a Kickstarter in 2017 for the original desk organizer, and
Was that the Kickstarter for $500,000?
yeah, we did about 400 something.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it kind of like changed everything. And it was like I had to learn how to like mass manufacture. We had to work with a 3PL fulfillment center. I learned everything what not to do. I have tons of failures in that campaign. The outside looked great. We had tons of manufacturing problems and communication problems and just a lot of things that went wrong. But
I love it because we all see it. Like I see it and I'm like, dang, this guy did a $500,000 Kickstarter to launch Gather, the desktop organizer. Like that is impressive. But you're like, yes, impressive. And it was really hard. And
yeah,
had a lot of things that didn't go well.
there's still like a black cloud over me from that project. I spent, to put it in context, we had 2 shipping containers of product that came from overseas to in Austin, Texas. We went started shipping, getting all of our product out, and started to realize there were some issues. So I went down to Austin and was physically sorting 2 shipping containers worth of product with about
Oh,
15 other people in a non-air conditioned warehouse in July.
oh,
And had to open up every single box and inspect it. And that's just like a glimpse into some of the
a
behind the
glimpse into the
scenes.
headache.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And so you make this leap into these productivity tools, Gather. Did you do all the designing of Gather? Is that like something you obsessed about, or did you outsource the designing? Or is that something like were you taking your like duct tape, cardboard background and making these prototypes, or were you sending it off to a third party to come up with everything and then you just approved it? Like, what's that
Yeah,
process like?
back then I was doing the sketches and I would lay out
Okay.
all like the 2D views in Illustrator. I didn't have any CAD experience, so I wasn't like actually engineering it, but I did. I broke out the styrofoam and cardboard and I was just like cutting up stuff. I'm like, I
Let's
want it to be
go.
long and I want the pieces to be able to move. I want, I'm lefty, so I want my phone on the left side. Everything is built like the solid mesh wire
Yeah.
things. They're always made for right-handed people. So it came out of like the
Wow.
same
That's
point of like
true.
make it for myself.
And so then you designed it, you started styrofoam in the process. And then if you had to say like, is that where your sweet spot of obsession is in designing the products? Like, is that where if you could spend hours on any day,
For
is that
sure.
where you'd be spending your time?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's still kind of my dream day scenario. Like I get pulled
Yeah.
into all the other aspects of the business, which is it's
Mm-hmm.
being a small business owner, there's
Yeah.
fun and fulfillment in different parts. But if I could be in the studio and with my industrial designer, my friend Jack,
Mm.
we do like these in-person days because he's based out in Utah, when we can both be in the studio for like 2 days on end and just design, it's like taking those ideas, getting them out into physical form is where I feel like my sweet spot is. And then he really refines and like does the engineering and the technical side of like making sure the CAD file is ready for manufacturing. And that's kind of like the missing piece. So like I still am not the guy doing all of the technical 3D modeling. I know a little bit, enough to be dangerous.
Enough to be
But
dangerous.
I have
Yeah.
like a concept. I think my sweet spot is more of like I have a concept of what I want to exist and why it should exist and what it should look like. And then
Hmm.
getting that out and like kind of seeing the need in my life and other people's lives, trying to create that, fill that void, but then also bring it to a physical form where I can hold the thing, which is really rewarding.
And you mentioned you're a small business, so well, like I said, we'll go up and down and all around Ugmonk. You actually now have a physical location in Pennsylvania
Hmm.
that, and this physical location serves both as a warehouse. Like, tell me about this physical location that you guys gut. Like, what's that process? I saw something about you gutting it, redoing it, and it looks incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's our design studio slash warehouse, shipping, fulfillment, customer service, product photography, everything under one
Everything.
roof.
It's
Yeah.
HQ.
Yeah. And that kind of happened when we launched this product Analog, the analog cards that you're
Okay.
referring to in
Hmm.
2020. Again, had a Kickstarter that went almost to $500,000. We had
Yeah. Gosh.
over 6,000 backers or total shipments that we had to get out. Couldn't do that out of my parents' basement anymore. And it like demanded that we have a physical space. And instead of outsourcing that shipping to just a third party, because we had a lot of issues with that, and maybe I'm just a control freak, but we wanted to do it ourselves. And I had this vision for like creating a place where I could design, have the products come in. My team is assembling, shipping. We're doing everything from all under one roof. And the building that we're in now, not the background you see here, but it's an old paper mill building from like the early 1800s that was going
Incredible.
through a renovation. We were looking for space. This was during the pandemic. It was a really weird time.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, we renovated the whole inside and made it like our design studio slash warehouse.
And it looks like something you would see in San Francisco as a craft coffee shop.
Yeah, that's kind of the
Like
goal.
it,
I mean, the goal is when
yeah,
people walk in, they're like, I kind of feel like I'm in Copenhagen. I'm like, exactly. Then I guess we're doing something right.
yeah. Like I won. I did this right. I can't live in Copenhagen right now, so I will at least make my space look like it.
Exactly.
Um. So, all right, I want to double tap into the Kickstarter stuff. So you have done two successful, like more than two, but like you've had these massive Kickstarters, like $500,000 Kickstarters is really impressive. What is the key to get people like, what is, if you're like, hey, I'm going to talk to you guys about that science in your brain on how you did that twice, how would you reverse engineer that?
Well, I tell people for 17 years to start building an email list over the next 17 years of their life.
Let's go. Let's go. That's so good.
Yeah, I mean, for real though, like the thing is, it's not about Kickstarter. It's not about the platform. It's a great way to get your idea out there. But the only reason that I had success, the success that I did, or the primary reason, is because I built a thousand true fan audience. The idea of like a thousand true fans. If you ever read the Kevin Kelly article, Seth Godin talks a lot about it. But like, I had slowly but surely
built this, bro. This is it. This is it. To dive into this.
Yes.
Geek out with me on this. I love this so much.
I think this is what people miss, especially today. They're starting a company. They have an idea. It might be a great idea. They put it out there. And they're like, no one's liking my Instagram reel. And it's like, well, you don't have an audience. So like these products, when I launched this, I had, let's see, almost 10 years of building this t-shirt side of Ugmonk, of customer after customer after customer. So when I launched the new thing, like I think it was with like a couple hours, we reached our funding goal, and I think we broke 6 figures in one day.
Oh my goodness.
But that was because like all of these people I'd already built trust with, because I'd been designing and shipping and doing customer service and fixing anything, on the back end, building relationships with people for almost a decade. And then I launched something to them. And then it's like, so it's the 10-year or the 17-year overnight success. But that's the part that people don't want to put in the work to just like build these relationships with their customers and not just look at.
Why do you think they not want to do? Why do you think they don't want to do it? Like there's some attentions you have is this saying, we'll stop there. Why do you think people don't pay attention to that detail of customer service? Because in the holistic brand experience, that is an element. It's like, it's one of those things that frustrates me so quickly is when, like, for example, if I go into a retail experience and the person has no judgment calls, but for me, it is a frustrating experience when they have like the AirPods in and it's customer facing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are you listening to me? Like what's, I don't even know if you're here. And so it's like, I had my blood drawn the other day and the person had AirPods in and I'm like, wait a second. Do you even know that the names match right now? Like what's happening? And so there's this drop of customer service and customer experience that you're seeing in so many places. And they're wondering, why are we not gaining this loyalty? But they're missing this customer experience. How do you look at customer experience and customer service that gets you to kind of dive in like that? How do you see it?
It's always been a long game for me. Like the idea of building a company to sell is like very foreign to me. I didn't come from tech background. I'm not trying to raise money to throw gasoline on the fire. I think there's a lot of valid reasons to build a company that way, but I started this because I wanted to make things. Like I wanted to make the things that I want to exist. And I wanted people to thoroughly and genuinely enjoy the things that I'm making. So when somebody says, hey, I got my shirt, the hem's a little messed up, we wouldn't be like, here's our restocking, robot response. We'd be like, I got you. We're sending you another one. Keep that one, wear it when you're mowing the lawn, whatever. Mm-hmm. We just treated people like humans.
Yeah. I love it. Treating them like humans.
Yeah.
That is it. Treating your customers like humans versus a data point, treating them like it's so amazing. We had another guest on the show, Tyler Axtell from Bradley Mountain, on here the other day. Yep. And one of the reasons he switched from purely being e-commerce to having retail was because he wanted to know his customers differently than he could if it was purely e-commerce. But you're saying even in the e-commerce space, you're going, I want to make sure that I go out of my way to know you and treat you like a human versus simply being a data point that made a purchase on my website.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy because do you think about that has to be a new concept, which has been around for hundreds of thousands of years, humans interacting with other humans, right? Like treating people, exchanging goods, treating them a certain way, looking them in the eye, and like the way that e-commerce and the whole digital landscape has changed that has made us feel like I can leave a comment, anonymously on a YouTube thing. No one's going to know.
Right.
Every single person, other than the AI bots, are actual people talking to people. So every conversation, every email, I still write our emails that go out. Like it's me. If you reply back, it's me. And it's not scalable, but everyone got obsessed with like, how do I scale, outsource, replace myself, multiple locations, multiple distribution, like Amazon will take care of it. And I'm like, how do we do the opposite of whatever that is? Because I want people to actually build a relationship with them. And it's just paid off. Like, we're not a massive brand, but I can sustain a small business here in the suburbs of Philadelphia, provide for my family, and have a couple good employees, and we're building something for a long time.
Okay, like that is so beautiful, and I love it so much. I have to ask you this question because of my own wonderings. How do you hold yourself back from comparison, from thinking we could be bigger? What if we did like how do you keep yourself on that path when everything around you is going to fight you to go the other direction, like you're saying? Like everybody's going to Amazon. But we're going to go the opposite route. Like how do you fight off that urge to just dive into that like machine like that?
It's been hard. I mean, especially with social media, because you see like success story after success story. You've got Shark Tank. You've got all these things that make it look like it's just easier than it is. And I know from doing this every day that it's not that easy. Like, physical products are hard. It's just there's no way around it. It's a lot of manual labor. It's a lot of shipping and customer service and problems with manufacturers. So I think social media has made that hard, because I'm watching other people be like, they're drop shipping, white labeling product. They're scaling with
they don't even touch it. They've never even held their own product in their hands.
Exactly.
It's getting drop shipped from somebody else, designed somewhere else, created somewhere else, but it's their brand, but they've never even touched it.
Yeah. And it seems like everyone makes it easy. You've got all these e-commerce gurus selling a course to somebody that's like, it can be very almost like overwhelming and paralyzing. And I think to a lot of people, they're getting a glimpse of like, I think I want to start an e-commerce brand. And I'm like, okay, do you have a product idea? They're like, I don't know what I'd sell, but I love the idea of e-com. I'm like, what do you like about it? And it didn't come from like a pure, I wanted to make bags because I love this bag. I wanted this bag to exist. And there's a lot of really, really great marketing people out there, and people that are way better at marketing than I am, and have scaled brands, and they're always posting their Shopify screenshots of how much, they're doing. And it's like, some of that does wear on you though. You're like, the imposter syndrome of like, I've been doing this a long time. I'm nowhere near those numbers. Like, I'm not even close. But the flip side is like, I get to go into work on Monday and do what I want to do, run the business that I want to exist in the way that I want it to exist. And not have to prove anything. I don't have a bunch of cars in my garage that I can show off on Instagram.
You don't have the fake or rented Lambos in your driveway.
Yeah, I don't have that for the screenshot or for the post. But I think entrepreneurship and specifically online in the last 5 to 10 years has changed dramatically, and people are only seeing that, and they see the YouTubers that have 2.4 million subscribers. And it's like, it's easy to want what they have, but nobody wants to put in the 17 years of work to get to where a lot of them, Mr. Beast wasn't Mr. Beast in the beginning. Like, guy is like, is just obsessive about, building his brand and his channel. So it's hard.
It's really good insight. Really good. And it is hard. It is hard because you regularly see where other people are. The measuring stick is always out, and it's constantly kind of reflecting back at you. You have to kind of have the resilience to stick to what you know is true for your brand and where you want to go as a brand. So you have your newsletter, but you've built out this email database of people who are fans of yours. They're not just customers. You've done some kind of storytelling. There's a way that you view your newsletter that isn't like, I got your email. Yay for me. I've captured it. I've got you in my system now. And now I can spam you. I can create all this email. My goal is to just get your email. You have an actual newsletter it's called 5 Things I'm Digging Into or something like that. But there's a way you've done storytelling around that makes it valuable to be a part of your newsletter versus, we got your email. Get ready. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so everybody should look up the book called Permission Marketing by Seth Godin.
Yes.
This was it's probably, I don't know, 15 years old. And that was the first time. I didn't come from a marketing background either, so I didn't know much about it. But when I read his book and understood the concept of permission marketing instead of interrupting people and trying to just get in their feed, these are people that signed up because you have their permission to talk to them, and you now have the ability to email them and reach them. And sure, like, there's a mix now. We have to find new people, and we run ads on social, and we're trying to find new audiences. But there's a way to gain someone's permission that now makes them want to receive more information about what you're doing, as opposed to, the pharmaceutical ads on TV when you're like, this is not
Mm-hmm.
relevant. I don't want to see
Mm-hmm.
this. Like, this doesn't make
Yes,
any sense.
exactly. So what made you do the 5 things I'm digging? Like, what was the reason you made your newsletter like that?
It was, I mean, it was on a whim. So I was
I
between
love
product,
it.
yeah, it
I
was
love the
between
honesty.
product releases. Like I used to just email when I had new shirts. It was like, new shirts come in, here's a teaser. You guys get first dibs
Mm-hmm.
before I even like, post. Sometimes before I post the link. And then I didn't have anything going for a while, and I was like, I'm just gonna send like an email about 5 things I'm digging right now. Like, just nothing related to products that we make or affiliate links or anything. And just be like,
Mm-hmm.
here's a house that's amazing. Here's an album I'm listening to, and here's sourdough pizza topping that I like. And I just sent it out on a whim because I was like, I think it'd be cool to not have to talk about myself the whole time. And then that has snowballed, and I've been doing it for years and years now, every single month. I don't think I've missed a month in many years.
Amazing.
And it's really fun because I love sharing those things and curating those things and sharing them with people. And it's almost the first thing out of people's mouth whenever I meet them. They're like, I followed you. I feel like I know you. I followed your 5 things list for like 3 years. And it's my favorite email I get every month. And I'm like, it's pretty crazy to think that people are
Yes.
actually on the receiving end of that and following for all these years.
It's special.
Yeah.
It's special, man. You've done something really special that the people resonate with you on a deep level. Now, I want to ask you a question that is, I want you to think for a second here. I want you to tell me the product you're most proud of and a product you were like, this one frustrated me and disappointed me. Like, because Ugmonk now has a variety of products. You've got journals, you've got leather goods, you've got productivity tools, there's hats and mugs. And I also look at your website sometimes because I know that you will be the one person that will curate Japanese items that have really, really intentional craftsmanship behind them, whether it's a pen, a letter opener. There's so much there. Which product do you love? I know it's like picking out, like, again, like, which kid do you love? But like, which product do you love and go, this one is for me? It may not even be your top seller, but you love it. And a product you're like, this one was a disappointment. Just didn't do what I wanted it to do.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, so the analog system. So I've got actually an old prototype here on my desk. Let's see if I can hold it
Let's
up
see
if
it.
people are watching.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
Um, so this product, I think, really embodies everything that I'm trying to do with Ugmonk. It's really simple, it's really clean, but it's actually changed my life and it's changed a lot of people's life. And it sounds like a little
Mm-hmm.
woo woo, like it's an index card. Come on, dude. Like, it's just writing your list down. But like the systematic approach of like this 1 minute a day, I write down the things I need to do. I prop that card up in front of me. It has a nice place at the end of the day. The card tucks in at the back here. There's a little lip that we added this little detail so that the card can find its
Mm-hmm.
way in.
Yep.
Doing this backwards so that the
Yeah.
card slides in nicely,
Yeah.
and the card
It's
is
beautiful
there
design.
ready for the next day. And it's like, it's a very, very simple product, but it's something I leave out. It's something that I interact with literally every single day. When I'm sitting at my desk, I'm looking at it. I probably glance at it more than my phone because it's like, it's constantly just saying, hey, do this, hey,
Wow.
do this, because it's like, well, I probably shouldn't say that. I look at my phone way too much. I think we all do. But I'm always looking at it.
That's not
because
even
it's
a
there.
question anymore for me.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I would love to say that I look at it more than my phone, but I'm looking at it all the time, and it's actually the thing that is making me progress in getting products out there, moving the business forward, following up on things, doing the things I don't want to do that I'm like, really need to make that call or I need to send in that
Mm-hmm.
form. It goes on that card, and it's like,
It's on
yeah,
my list, bro.
it's like an
It's on
accountability
my card.
partner. Yeah, it's like, come
Yeah.
on, you got to do this. You said you're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck, who's my operations manager and runs a lot of the logistical side of the company, we were talking about this the other day, and he said, it's like having an accountability partner to yourself, right? Like I get to pick what goes on that card each day. No one else
Right.
puts stuff on there for me. Like, your email is like everyone else's to-do list for you. That's like you
Mm-hmm.
committing to yourself to say, I want to do these 3 or 5 or 10 things today, and then cross it off and do it. So it's more
Mm-hmm.
powerful than it just being a piece of paper or just the rounded corners or all these different things about the actual physical side of it. But I get stories from people all the time, struggling with ADHD. Their kid has autism and he's using it. It's like this is tactile. It feels like he's, able to think better. CEOs and executives, teachers, like all these different people that have resonated with like this idea of a system and a nicely designed product that you want to leave out, you want to look at. So yeah, I mean, I'm tooting my own horn in that sense, but I do feel like there's like,
but I asked you to toot your horn there because I'll say one of the things I love about the analog system that, I bought mine. This is not a paid ad. You did not send me an analog system. I love it because it's what I need. Not, there's not 10 other features that are unnecessary.
Yep.
And that I'm buying this, but I only really need half of this, when the reality is like sometimes the productivity tools you get, they were someone's ethereal idea on how people function product in a productive way, but they weren't practical. I'm like, these 3 questions, I'm never going to answer these 3 questions you have on this journal of mine. So it's like, I would look at this journal, I'd see 3/4 of it empty.
Yeah. You feel guilt.
And I go, you feel guilt in that process. With yours, it's like, no, this is what I put in front of me and it's clean and I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
It's easy. And there's not more fluff on it than it needs to be.
Yeah. And one other note on that is like so Dieter Rams, for anyone that doesn't know, Dieter Rams is one of the most famous industrial designers that has touched hundreds and hundreds of products through Braun and a bunch of Vitso and a bunch of other companies. His motto or kind of his ethos is less but better. And the whole point of when he designed products wasn't to make things that were like going to be showy and just sit on a shelf and people were going to look at and ooh and ah. It was actually like to make them functional and to strip away everything that's unnecessary till you get down to just the bare bones product. And through that, you end up with this beautiful aesthetic, his turntables, his alarm clocks, his shavers, and it's got this like little orange accent button, but it wasn't just for play. It was like, this helps the user interact with the product. And I'm like just super inspired by his whole ethos and the idea of not just making art pieces and sculptures, although I think there's a place for that for sure. That's just not what I'm specialized in, is making objects that are like beautiful and less but better. Like make them as stripped down as they can be and make them the most impactful product they can be.
Which I need to continue to practice that. I'm a little bit more of the like, okay, this is good. I'm like, wait, no, it could be simpler.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me which product you're like, this one just didn't land for me.
That's a tough one too. The thing that came to mind, which is funny, is actually the one that made $500,000 on Kickstarter. Because, well, for one, people also have a misperception that $500,000 doesn't go straight to your pocket. Right. Between shipping, manufacturing, Kickstarter fees, and everything.
We're not talking profit here.
Yeah, it's like it's fun to talk revenue. Nobody wants to talk about profit. But exactly. the reason that came up was like, and it has so many like negative connotations in my mind. Even though the product was really successful, people still have it on their desk. They still love it. I just learned a lot about like losing control and not having my hand in things and how I wanted to run the company. I think my eyes got big and I was like, wow, we could, sell this to Target. We could go into the MoMA museum store. We literally got a call from the Shark Tank producer and was like, hey, we're going to bypass you for the first 2 rounds. We saw your Kickstarter and we didn't end up going forward with it, thankfully, because we had all these delays in manufacturing things. But it was almost like it was the product that almost set me off course of what I wanted to be doing.
Wow.
And we had some problems with the wood warping and the injection mold, and we should have done things differently from like an actual physical design standpoint. I just had never designed a product like that. I didn't know about tolerances and things like that. And it set me on this path of thinking like, kind of chasing the dream of like, this could be huge and wow, a lot of dollar signs, that would be nice. And went through the trenches of like digging out of that, making sure all the customers were happy, making sure the products that left our hands still has my name on it. And it's Ugmonk. So I want to make sure it's good. And kind of course corrected because of that whole fiasco and pulled things back. And now we're doing things more locally and in-house and intentionally. So love that. As a product, it was great. As a designer and the person behind the product, I'm just like, I cringe a little bit every time I think
Wow.
about it, because it was
Hmm.
2 years really of trials going through to get
Hmm.
back to bounce back from that.
Okay, bro, that's insightful. That's really insightful. All right, a couple more questions here. One question I have for you, as a person and a brand that has tons of different products yourself and some curated ones, do you find that there's a balance that you've wrestled with, or how do you navigate too many products and feeling like I've got too much stuff on the shelves, I've got too much stuff to distract my customers? How do you feel like you're handling the right products and making sure that those products are the right ones and not getting lost in having too much or too little? Like, how have you found that balance?
I think so it started with the idea that I could bring in complementary products to what we sell. This was 2018, I believe, when we started doing this, like bringing in other brands products to complement what we do. Like, I'm not going to kind of my rule was, if I'm not going to design it or reinvent it, let's choose the best one out there. So Hasami Porcelain
Love
makes
that.
these beautiful mugs. They've been making them for hundreds of years. These ceramic mugs, and they're super clean. So we decided to bring those in. There's pen brands, and you've got Lecterm and Lamy and all these different brands that have been making pens, and they're experts at making pens. I don't want to reinvent like an ink cartridge in a pen. Maybe someday we'll make our own version of it, but for like ease of use, if you're buying the analog system and you have this on your desk and you want a nice pen, we wanted to start carrying complementary products that kind of enhance the experience of what we do, and to introduce people just to like interesting brands that I came across, and almost like five things I'm digging, but in store form. Like,
Yeah.
I bet you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
heard of these scissors, like these
Yep.
magnetic HMM scissors that balance on your desk, and they have a little box cutter on them. And but so we pushed pretty, not hard, but we went pretty wide in that lane for a while, and now we've kind of tailored it back and trying to be more focused on specifically like what enhances the analog productivity desk
Hmm.
organization space.
Is that the
Um,
future for you? That's my question.
yeah,
My last question for you is, what's the future of Ugmonk, and what is the product, or is there a product, two product, three, whatever it is that you're going? This is the future of the brand. We're really building around this now.
yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at now, is like is tools that help people work better, work and live better, which is a broader description, and it's always like, it's always a working tagline, but
Of course.
specifically around physical analog, lowercase a, analog tools,
Hmm.
um, that can enhance those things. So it doesn't have to be like at your job, but like if you can use the card system, or we just launched this new, I've got this one in front of me too. This is our new capture cards and card bar,
Okay.
which is like this aluminum rail. And it's
Yeah.
got multiple slots so the cards can go in front of each other, and you can move things around.
Yes.
Um, this can be useful in so many different ways, but I want to, like, you can be a writer, you can be an artist,
Hmm.
you can have it in your wood shop, you could put drawings
Hmm.
up there. But this idea of like creating these tools that help people improve their life through a small way, um, with tools that they interact with every day. And
Okay,
yeah,
so what you're saying, I love, and I love how you're kind of doubling on kind of that way for your brand to show up with those kinds of products. Here's my actual last question now, because I'm like, this is where I'm intrigued like a learner now. And when you have these products that have these incredible use cases, these interesting features, the sliding rail on all of these things, how do you navigate only talking about features versus storytelling and being able to communicate a little bit deeper versus like, here's the cool features, but how do you figure out that balance and communicate versus just talking only about the features?
I think I'm still figuring that out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know internally a lot of what the benefits of using the products are. I tend to talk
Mm-hmm.
way too much about the features or the design and the craftsmanship. And I have a
It's a
friend that's
struggle.
like,
It's so hard.
he's like, you always tell me like how great the wood finish is, and that it's solid walnut, and that it's this, but like, what can it do for me? Because not everybody geeks out
Mm,
on like the paper stock and the materials. Um, but yeah,
that's a good friend.
yeah, I know, I want to do more of the storytelling, and trying to film some more content and trying to get on camera more of me explaining like the why behind things. Why
Mm,
does analog look the way it is? Why is it a card, not a notebook? What is, out of sight, out of mind? What are these concepts? Because I think it's all there, but right now, it's 2025, and it's September 2025, And I feel like a lot of those are buried under the surface, and they only come out if you're talking to me or like you dig a little harder. So I want to
Makes
bring
sense.
more of a
Makes
community
sense.
aspect and get people sharing their stories. Like we just had somebody writing a book, like taking these cards. They sent me a
Yeah.
picture. They went on a writing retreat and they came back with a stack of the cards with all of the different chapters, and they're like rearranging it. I'm like, this is incredible. We need to tell people
Yeah.
about this.
Yes, those use cases are remarkable. Even some of the ones that you were mentioning with kids with ADHD or things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, your system is helping brains. It's helping us figure out how to make our lives be what we want them to be versus simply thinking I'm only going to be productive today. Like on here is also reminders for myself
Mhm.
at times where it's not simply just, hey, I got to call this company to send them this thing. It's like also it's send a text message to so and so. And it's like there's these things that make me a better human that are added to my use for analog. So I'm grateful for the product. Thanks for this conversation. I'm looking forward to doing even more conversations like this with you and hearing about the future and how it goes for you, and excited to see how as Ugmonk continues to grow and influence how people live their lives with an intentional way. So thanks, man. I appreciate the conversation today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I didn't even know you were a fan before this. I didn't even know you had the product, so it's kind of cool to make that connection.